Willkommen, bienvenue, hoe hecht met you? Je m'appelle Bazzadi. Ich heiße Bazzadi. Mein Name is Bazzadi. Yes, we are embroiled in the heart of Europe. While Britain wants to leave the EU, Bazzadi most certainly wants to be in it. And who else and where else can we be but embroiled in the heart of Europe, in the beating, thumping heart of Europe's capital, with that octopus of Dracula-like sloth and authoritarian barbarism sucks Britain dry? Yes, we are in Brussels, the heart of the EU and home of RSC Anderlecht Football Club, where me, Bosman, you can see that in the top right hand corner, we've reverted to all things Belgique, La Fabrique Belgique. I am a Fleming. I will not be leaping over any cliffs, I will have you note, but I am a Fleming. I have adopted Belgian nationality for the purposes of this FIFA 2018 career save. It's a new one, and we're all off on a Bosman's holiday. We're all going on a Bosman's holiday. No more British football for a week or two. That was quite soul-crushingly pathetic, even if I do say so myself. Don't worry though, we will be complementing this stream with our Pyramid to Premiership stream, FIFA 2008 career mode with Forest Green Rovers, and things are hotting up there. My manager rating is falling faster than... oh, I don't know. Falling faster than Harvey Weinstein's credit rating in Hollywood. Yeah, we are struggling a bit. We've gone, 3 matches without a victory, so we are just absolutely gasping for a victory. And the next match, this is the one the fans have been waiting for. This is the one that's got a manufactured rivalry from the conference days. It's Forest Green Rovers against the Imps of Ipswich Town. That has a more alliterative quality to it, but it is of course the Imps of Lincoln City. Of course, and it was supposed to be haunting the Belfry Tower in Lincoln Cathedral, so the old apocryphal story goes. Arr. Anyway, that's the next match on Pyramid to Premiership, our other FIFA 2018 career mode save. But we're banishing all thoughts of Blighty at the moment. The next episode, incidentally, of Pyramid to Premiership goes out later on today, but we're concentrating on Europe, as I said. We have decided to go with RSC Anderlecht, that is Royal Sporting Club Anderlecht. There seems to be a bit of a fad in Belgian football, similar to Italian football, to adopt an English nom de plume, or a nominal English name. So instead of the Dutch or Flemish word for royal, which I think is Koninklijke, they have adopted royal. Perhaps it makes it sound a little bit more, I don't know, Euro-literate. Perhaps it gives them a bit of a cachet in Belgium. So, we've already kicked off the campaign. We had a very comfortable victory to ease us in. A 2-0 away triumph at Royal Antwerp. You see? Royal, not Koninklijke Antwerpen, as it would be in the local dialect. Incidentally, I've also set the commentary language to Dutch, which is the closest approximation that we can get on FIFA 2018 to Flemish. Met praten om de Vlaams. Ja, de scheidsrechter ontemolting van de opstelling. Meneer. Okay. To any of you who speak fluent Dutch or Flemish, I do apologise for that appalling attempt and mutilation of your sacred tongue. So, we got off to a good start. We are sitting on 3 points. Good 2-0 victory. Stefan Coombs and Hanai with a couple of goals for us in the opening fixture. So that's a nice way to ease us into the campaign. So yeah, not that you're going to hear much Dutch commentary, but I might just fire it up, pump up the volume, just to get a bit of ambiance. Let's take a look now at Anderlecht. They're known as the Parvit in Flemish, and Le Mauve et Blanc. That means, I think you can work it out, the purple and whites, given that their colours are purple and white. Makes perfect sense to me. They were founded in 1908. They initially played at the Parc Astrid, and they come from the Anderlecht district of Brussels. Now, that's a fairly utilitarian working class district. The football club was built around the blood and sweat of the local population. There's still a village called Anderlecht to this day in the local area, but the football club, of course, draws its support much like Manchester United do. They don't just get their support these days from, what was that original place called? Was it something Heath, when they used to play in green and yellow, and Salford. Manchester United, of course, are a magnet and draw their support from all over England, all over Britain, all over the world. Anderlecht similarly do not just rely on the support that is generated in the small village of Anderlecht, which is based within Brussels itself. Now, they do act as a significant draw for many supporters throughout Belgium. It's not geographically, in terms of landmass, it's not a very big area. It's quite easy to commute between Brussels and most of the outlying towns, whether in the Flemish district or the Walloon district in the south. And Anderlecht are a very, very attractive proposition. They don't have much competition within Brussels itself. I think the only two teams that I can recall that play professional football in Brussels and within the city environs are Union Saint-Gilles, who play in the B division, and Racing White Daring Molenbeek. What a name. What a fantastic name. If I was going to support a football team, it would be Racing White Daring Molenbeek. I mean, it sounds like they should be off on a James Bond expedition or a way to assist Indiana Jones as he uncovers another deadly temple in the forest. They're daring, they're racing, and they're white. So I did allude to the fact that the EU was a squatting octopus that, like Dracula, drained the blood out of the EU. That is, of course, a very facetious statement. I'm not being serious. I am not... we're not going to get into political points on this because it's a football save, but I am very much a man of Europe. I am a l'homme d'Europe, as they say in Francais. And I have a lot of time for Europe. I've worked in Europe. Indeed, I've worked in Brussels. And I've seen Anderlecht play on one occasion. I think it was an afternoon where we went to the European Parliament for a visit, met our local MSP, and then toddled off to the Atomium, which is a large-scale model of an iron atom located in a park which overlooks a sort of mini village called Mini Europe. And I'm not quite sure if that's still there, but it was the last time I visited a couple of years ago. But I remember we did get rather refreshed, and we were, let's just say, a teensy-weensy bit outrageously drunk. And we went for a trip up the Atomium. I vomited on an escalator. I met a security guard who turned out to be an Anderlecht fan, incidentally, and he helped me clean up the puke. I'm sure you really want to hear these gory details. So we then left the Atomium, and adjacent to the Atomium you have the Roi Baudouin Stadion, which is the Belgian international football team. That's their home. And we went in for a visit there. The doors were thrown open. Nobody appeared to obstruct us. So we just decided, okay, let's take a little sneak in. Let's take a little reconnaître around. And we just had a little bit of a photo session in the Roi Baudouin Stadium. And nobody said boo to a goose. We weren't evacuated or escorted off the premises in iron manacles or shackles. And then we went to Mini Europe. And I have to say, we were probably the oldest people there. It's certainly a resort designed for children, and I don't think the mascot, which is some kind of turtle, will ever recover from the grueling session and afternoon torment that we put that poor creature through, or that poor individual who was cooped up in the baking hot sun in some kind of thick fabric made out to look like a turtle. The costume was very unconvincing, but I'll take this opportunity now to apologise to that particular individual for making his or her life, an absolute living hell of a misery that particular Brussels afternoon. So, the other thing about Anderlecht is they now play at the Park Constant Vandenstock, which is named after the current owner or the relative of an owner. They used to play at the Park Astrid, and every time I hear the Park Astrid, I'm always in my mind reminiscing about the film In Bruges. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's Colin Farrell and the guy that plays Mad-Eye Moody in Harry Potter. I can't recall his name. Brendan Gleeson, that's it. They played two Irish hitmen on the run or lying low for a while. Incidentally, one of my favourite lines of all time is uttered in that film where now, which Fiennes is it? I can't remember which one it is. Anyway, he picks up the phone. He has an argument with one of the characters in Bruges rather, and he goes, and I will excise the expletive, but he gets angry at the phone. He shakes it, he slams it down, and his wife says, "Oh, calm down, it's an inanimate object." And his reply is, "You're an effing inanimate object." Wonderful, lovely dialogue, comedy gold. Anyway, these two characters are lying low in Brussels, and then they seek out some ammunition because they are hitmen. They need some guns, so they go and see an arms dealer, and he comes out with the wonderful line of, "You know, the alcoves in the Astrid Park, the alcoves in the Konig Astrid Park." Lovely. So every time I hear Astrid Park, it always brings hurtling back into my mind the film In Bruges. So when I was in Brussels, as I say, I did used to work briefly there for about a couple of years, and I had the privilege of watching Anderlecht against Royal Excelsior Mouscron. Now, had I known that every other Belgian football match that I was about to witness would involve, as a protagonist, Royal Excelsior Mouscron, I probably would have abandoned watching Belgian football, because a bit of a predictable theme was about to develop. I then went to watch Club Brugge, and Bruges is a beautiful place, or Brugge, as they say in the local Flemish dialect. Please don't try and speak French in Bruges, because they will probably lynch you. They'll probably run you out of town. Speak English or Flemish in Brugge if you can. French is absolutely anathema to the people, the good denizens of Brugge. They don't really like it. So I went to see Club Brugge in the Jan Breidel Stadion, and it's quite a significant contrast when the stadium, which I think has a capacity of 30,000, is full, it's atmospheric, the atmosphere is belligerent, it's vociferous, even against a club like Excelsior Mouscron, who don't particularly pack a punch in Belgian football, although they've had a bit of a revival lately, very much against the odds. However, they brought maybe a sprinkling of fans with them, so out of the 30,000 there was probably 20 or 30 of them, hoisted away, isolated in a top kind of triangular segment of the Jan Breidel Stadion, and the Club Brugge fans made an awful lot of noise that night. It was a passionate atmosphere, or as they say in Flanders, de sfeer, de passie van de sfeer. And 30,000 fans inside the Jan Breidel Stadium make a cacophonous noise. Roll on about maybe 2 months down the line, I went to see the second team in Bruges, Cerkel, who now play in the Belgian B division, and they were also playing against, yes, you guessed it, Royal Excelsior Mouscron. And it was a very dull 1-1 draw. But the significant contrast was there weren't 30,000 people in the stadium on this occasion. There were, if you were lucky, 4,500. And it was a rather desolate atmosphere. And I certainly prefer the Jan Breidel full to capacity, with the fans absolutely loving it, lapping it all up, and making a lot of noise. Not so when Cerkel Brugge play there, unfortunately. And the only other occasions I've ever seen Belgian football, apart from Anderlecht, Club Brugge and Cerkel Brugge, who all played, of course, Royal Excelsior Mouscron, was a match involving Zulte Waregem, from the town of Waregem, which is not too far away from Brugge. Maybe about an hour's train journey, I think. correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. If you have a more wide-ranging knowledge of Belgian geography and the Belgian train timetable, then please feel free to pull me up on it in the comments below. We would love some comments. If you're a big fan of Belgian football, if you're a fan of Anderlecht, then get in touch. Please give us a comment and also a big old thumbs up. Give the channel a like. bazzad610 on YouTube. Of course, we have the Irrelevant Football Chat, the football, well, what can we call it? The football fanaticism continues apace on Offside Pies, our Twitter feed. That's offside_pies. And if you want to get in touch with us via any of those means, you are more than welcome to do so. Indeed, I do appreciate any contact, any sort of engagement with my adoring publica. So, Anderlecht, founded in 1908, as we said. They've had a bit of European success over the years. Interestingly enough, the team that I support, Dunfermline Athletic, they played against Anderlecht in 1970 in what was then the Fairs Cup. It's now gone through several incarnations since then. It was then the UEFA Cup, and it's now the Europa League. I think Anderlecht won the tie overall by, well, they won at East End Park in Dunfermline, I think, by 1-0, and I think they won the first leg at the Park Astrid by 2-1. Anyway, that's a little link that I have with Anderlecht through my own football supporting days. I know many people that attended the match in Dunfermline, and they said the atmosphere was visceral. I think there was a bit of edge between Dunfermline and Anderlecht. And I think what you have to bear in mind is that back then, Dunfermline Athletic were a team to be reckoned with. And in 1970, it was only 2 years or so since they'd got to the equivalent of the semi-final of the UEFA Cup. Knocked out by Utrecht Doza. If they'd won, they would have faced Barcelona. If only. Oh, these things that were never meant to be. So, Anderlecht are one of the teams in Belgium that would be expected to win the league every year. It's a bit of a Rangers or a Celtic scenario. That's the only equivalent I can perhaps relate it to. Club Brugge would probably be their nearest challengers, although in recent years KAA Ghent have made a bit of a nuisance of themselves, and Anderlecht are one of the perennial underachievers, like Standard Liège, who always seem to struggle for some reason. And a city the size of Liège, a football club with the reputation that Standard Liège have, they should be performing better. And in recent years, Anderlecht and Standard Liège have had one thing in common, and that is they can't win anything, not even the Belgian Pro League. But for the purposes of this career mode on FIFA 2018, we're all off on a Bosman's holiday. Incidentally, I've just refer to, is it Jean-Luc or Jean-Marc Bosman? I can't remember, but in case you're not old enough to remember who Monsieur Bosman was, he was the guy that enabled free transfers to be put into operation when a player's contract expired. They couldn't then be held to ransom by their clubs. They were effectively given the same rights of freedom of movement within the EU and within the world now as any other working citizen. So Bosman, essentially, he was a nuclear bomb that annihilated the cosy little world of football transfers. The whole landscape had to be rethought. The whole Weltanschauung, and there's another nice little foreign word for you, the whole landscape had to be rebuilt after Bosman. So he, effectively, that's what we're naming ourselves after. And I know the mechanics of a joke are kind of undermined when you have to explain it, but there's a busman's holiday, which is when you're working and you go abroad or you go on holiday, but you're effectively doing your job and being paid to do that, but you're still kind of on holiday. So we're kind of conflating that. Busman's, Bosman's, you get it? Ho ho ho! Oh, Bazzad, you're one hell of a comedy genius. So, Bosman's holiday. There we go. Yeah, we were saying that within the sphere of Belgian football, Anderlecht, our board, they do expect us to win the league quite comfortably this season. It's a high priority for them. So we'll just have a look at the squad of players that Anderlecht have. The starting 11, they're all a bit knackered after their first match against Royal Antwerp, which is a bit of a surprise because it was something of a cruise, a very comfortable way to just genteelly feel your way into this Belgian Pro League campaign. Teodorovic, he's a Polish internationalist. Gerkens used to play for Ghent, I think. Steven Apaya is a Ghana international I've heard of. Sapajic, not overly familiar with. Den Donker is a guy that several Premiership clubs have run the rule over in recent years but haven't committed themselves to making a transfer. Olivier Deschamps is the cult figure of this Anderlecht team. He really is a hero, a legend, and is approaching the twilight of his career, but he's still getting a game in real life, and he was reasonably solid against Antwerp. Nothing spectacular. I think his energy levels dipped, as they would do, because I think he's about 38, 39, something like that. And then in the midfield area we've got Amazu, we've got Hanai wide left, and then the two central midfielders are Trebel and Sven Kums, who I have heard of. He's a highly rated midfield player. He scored the opening goal in our debut fixture against Royal Antwerp on the opening match of the season. Right, so we'll just have a look at the league table. We'll just run through the teams and who I consider to be a threat, who I consider to be rivals, or historically in real life, who are Anderlecht's big rivals, and who will they be expected to contest the league with? Well, evidently, Club Brugge are right up there. You immediately think of Anderlecht and Club Brugge. If you have even a vague smattering of knowledge about Belgian football, those are the two most successful club sides in Belgium in recent years, over the last 30 or 40 years. Not so much Anderlecht, more so Club Brugge in recent history. But we'll have a look at the league table, if you just bear with me a second. Just talk among yourselves. I think what we'll be expected to do this season is win the league, and win it quite handsomely, I have to say. So there's Austria, a little bit of a round trip from Belgium to Austria, so you've seen a bit more of Europe. Okay, so now the thing to bear in mind about the Belgian Pro League is that the majority of the teams come from the Flemish-speaking region. Anderlecht themselves come from Brussels. Now, Brussels politically is supposed to be a neutral zone. All of the street signs in Brussels are bilingual. They're in Flemish and in French, or Walloon as the local vernacular has it, for the south of the country. So it's very much designed to try and avoid Flemish separatists and Flemish nationalists claiming Brussels as theirs. More so the Flemish nationalists claiming it as theirs, as opposed to the Walloons. Because the Flemish-speaking region of Belgium is the powerhouse. It's the industrial heart of the country. It's what makes its economy tick, and there's no point in denying that. And that is probably reflected in the quality and the standard of the football teams, because you've got Anderlecht. Okay, I'll be cheeky and say that they come from the Flemish-speaking part, because I'm quite biased towards the Flemish-speaking part, to be honest. Ghent, Flemish. Sporting Charleroi, they come from the Walloon district, one of the few teams that are there, alongside Standard Liège. They're also from the Walloon-speaking district. And I think the only other side in the A-League, the Belgian Pro A-League, that come from the south, from the French Walloon-speaking part, are Excelsior Mouscron. Them again. Oh, quel surprise! The rest of the clubs, of course, Club Brugge, Kortrijk, Mechelen, Oostend, Lokeren, Genk, Waregem, St. Truiden, Beveren, Antwerp. They're all Flemish. The only exception is Eupen, who are neither Flemish nor Walloon. They come from an enclave where they speak German. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? So they are a significant exception in the league. So that's their USP, that's their unique selling proposition. They are effectively not a German club, but they speak German as opposed to Flemish or Walloon. So there we go. You've got a little bit of local colour, a little bit of background to the not only the football situation in Belgium, but the political and economic situation. Don't say that Bazzadi is never one to educate his public, for I am the master of the educational soundbite. Okay, I think we'll move on to the second match of the season now. Let's get some football action underway, shall we? And we are, let's see, who are we up against today? Incidentally, it's a very early start to the Pro League in Belgium. Our first match was the 27th of July, which is incredibly premature. I mean, the only other league that I can think of that has such an early start is the Scottish League over the years, particularly the lower levels, the Championship, League 1 and League 2. They seem to have a propensity for beginning the season in late July and early August, whereas the Premiership have kind of held off a little bit, although they did indulge with a little experiment of kicking off in July to try and give teams in the preliminary stages of the European competitions a bit of match fitness. It didn't work because they were still getting knocked out early. I don't think there's any cure for the malaise in Scottish football at the moment, both internationally and locally. Okay, we've got Ostend. Now, they have a very garish coloured strip, if I recall. Very Jamaican looking, I have to say. So that's going to be our next fixture, Sunday the 6th of August, and this should be a home tie. This should be our virgin home tie of the season. It should be. Let's just have a look. Yep, we are. We're at home to KV Ostend. That's another place I've been to, actually, the Albert Sport Park a few years ago. I seen KV Ostend. In fact, this slipped my mind, actually, but I did see KV Ostend play a match against Racing Genk, which ended in a 3-1 victory for the hosts, very much against the run of play that night. The ground's subsequently been redeveloped. We were standing on possibly the most unsafe, ricketiest terracing that I have ever had the misfortune to stand on at that Ostend match. It was terrifying. The wood beams that supported the enclosure roof were rotting. It was, I think there was about 4,500 at the game, but it seemed more than that. The supporters were getting very raucous, getting a bit carried away. There was a bar, as there always seems to be at Belgian football grounds. That was tucked beneath the main stand, but it was not far to walk from the main stand to this terrace. So people were jumping up and down, swilling beer. Beer was pouring everywhere, drenching the backs of people's necks, soaking their clothes. So you came out saturated and stinking of booze. But the supporters, they were a great bunch, but you just felt that one heavy-footed clomp too many and the whole terracing might have imploded and fallen down. It didn't, because I am still alive to tell the tale. So here we go. It's Anderlecht against KV Ostend. And Gerkens gets the ball now, lays it back to Spasic. Spasic plays the ball along to Den Donker. Den Donker gets the ball out now to Deschamps. Olivier Deschamps, of course, the cult figure, the legendary hero, the man with many appearances, a record-breaking number of appearances for Anderlecht. And Anderlecht just looking to compose themselves, settle into the game, get a feel for the ball. Deschamps again. This is very nice and neat and composed. It's all a bit easy-ozy, though. We want a bit more flamboyance, a bit more penetration. Here's Coombs, scored in the last game, of course, gets the ball up to Teodorovic. He got through a power of work, Teodorovic, but and that's been kept in, and Jonquier comes forward for Ostend. That's a decent looking ball, but the goalkeeper has read it. Sells comes out, claims the ball, and again slows everything down, nice and patient. Yeah, Teodorovic got through a power of work, but he's an out and out striker. He's supposed to be the figurehead of a three-pronged attack, and he seemed to be drifting here, there and everywhere but the central striking position. Yeah, he got through a power of work. He was a handful, but I want him to be the out and out striker. I want him to be the target man, if you like. And we seem to be going backwards here when we had the opportunity to press home an attacking advantage. Oh, it's a dreadful pass, and Zivkovic has been presented with an absolute present, and Jalai wins the ball in midfield for Ostend. Zivkovic again into Jonquier, advancing forward, looking dangerous, whips the ball out right. Here's Rezanan on the edge of the 18-yard box. We need to get a foot in there. Amazou blocks it, and it goes up to Theodor. It's good flick on, and here's Gerkens in behind, but Lomberts does well to cover, and he prevents Gerkens from striding on. Here come Ostend again. Jonquier, he's looked a particularly dangerous threat in the opening stages here at the Park Constant Vandenstock. Anderlecht's first home game of the season. Not quite working according to plan at the moment as Jalai picks the ball up and lays to Rezanan for Ostend. Akpala on the edge of the box. Lovely cutback. Zivkovic's shot was travelling. Dead Donker has blocked it on the 6-yard line. That was a crucial interception because that was definitely pile driving towards the roof of the net, and it looked as though Sels perhaps was beaten. Here's Treble. He even shrugs off his own man in his determination to get to the ball. And he lays the ball now to Gerkens. Gerkens checks, shoots. Oh, just narrowly wide of the post. He did well to create the opportunity for himself. Opened up his body, but he's hacked rather wildly and desperately at that ball. And Gerkens pings the effort wide. Goal kick for Cave Ostend. They've done well to settle. We've not really threatened them too much, not really created or manufactured any clear-cut opportunities, but they've looked dangerous on the counter-attack. Here's Jonquier, played it to Akpala. The ball's gone wide. That should have been predicted. A little bit lazy there from Anderlecht. That move seemed to be telegraphed to my mind. Long ball forward by Sels. Up goes Gerkens, but he's beaten to the ball. Akpala holds off the challenge of Deschacht. That's no mean feat, by the way, because Deschacht is a unit. And here's Resman. Deschacht, solid tackle, and he comes away with the ball. He's got options ahead of him as he charges down the wing. Deschacht now, he is essentially an auxiliary winger. He gets the ball across the face of the goal, and Tomasevich has to be alert just to swing his leg up and block the ball. Trebel dispossesses his man. Here's Deschacht. Look at the amount of possession we've got here. As in the Antwerp match, we are pinning our opponents back. Cave Ostend cannot get out. They are absolutely enmeshed in their own half, but they're dangerous on the breakaway as Akpala plays the ball through, and that's a mistake, and a shot. Oh, and Zivkovic has smacked the inside of the post, but you've got to wonder, though, what were the Anderlecht defenders doing there? Were they hoping, against hope, vainly, that the referee or the linesman would call offside? Well, 42 minutes on the clock, and that is a let-off for Anderlecht. No question about that. Zivkovic is through. He hits the ball at the... Oh, there's a dreadful pass. Akpala. Zivkovic is denied at the very last ditch by Spasic. And this is good play. And wonderful play from Ostend. Really piling the pressure on. And Akpala is denied by the quick-witted response of the goalkeeper. There's the half-time whistle. There's no time for any more action. It's level. It's been, it's been quite a cagey game. Anderlecht have enjoyed the majority of the possession. Ostend have looked menacing and threatening on the breakaway, but there haven't really been any clear-cut chances for the favourites, Anderlecht, whereas Cave Ostend have created the more pertinent chances in that first 45 minutes, particularly Zivkovic, clipping the inside of the post. He was left unmarked, left to measure up his shot, and the Anderlecht defence, well, they just abandoned their post, really, didn't they? There it is there. Oh, great effort. I mean, Sels is beating all ends up. There's a match later on, of course, Club Brugge against KAS Eupen. But we'll concentrate on this. Everybody looks okay, so we'll go again for the second half with the same formation and the same starting lineup. Let's get underway. Let's see if we can really take the game now to Cave Ostend. We need to produce a much improved performance in the second half. That was a sluggish performance from Anderlecht, and I don't think it would have been deemed acceptable by the home supporters. I think they would have been hounding the players, getting on their backs, agitating for more. Here is Gerkins. Oh, he's lost the ball. That's disappointing. Ozcan plays it forward to Akpala. Akpala, we're backing off and don't allow him the shot. Dendoncker steps in and says, look, this is my ball. Let's get a grip of this. Nice pass, Dendoncker. Gerkin gets it at the second attempt and now drives forward. Gerkin, he's got a man inside. He might shoot. Oh, he got caught betwixt and between. Didn't really know what to do and ended up losing the ball as a consequence. His indecision costing him dearly there as Ostend come forward again. Here's Zizkovic, the man who has created the best opportunity in the tie when he clipped the post. That was coming across the face of the goal. De Schacht was alert. Ball in again. Oh, and it's been won. A brilliant save from Sells. That is a point-blank save. He must have seen that incredibly late. But what on earth was the Anderlecht left back doing? He just stopped, stood and admired the shot. Wonderful effort and a lovely response, a critically important response and a first-rate save, a very agile and athletic save from Sells. He's not been called into action too often. He's maintained his focus and his concentration, and there's a good flick on, a good header on, and Hanny's in space now. Hanny, he's going to have to just hold this up and work on his own. There's a ball inside and it's there, and and Van Hamel just dives at the foot of Teodorovic and denies him the opportunity to get the shot in, smothers the ball. But that was a good move from Anderlecht. Very positive. We've got to try and recreate that. That's got to give us confidence. Here's Zizkovic. Ooh, delays on the edge of the box, and again after a little bit of a melee, it's De Schacht that takes command. Here is Teodorovic, loses the ball, clips off the knee of the Ostend player and breaks fortuitously for them. Here's Ba on the edge of the box, leads the ball back to Jonquier. Oh, that is a tremendous goal, and Ostend, the underdogs, have taken a shock lead here at the Park Constant Vandenstock. Anderlecht have perhaps been asking for that. It's been a tawdry performance. It's been a slack performance. Look at that. He absolutely rams that one home. A pile driver of an effort from Jonquier, who has been one of the most notable players on the field for Ostend today. He really has been a sensational performer, and he caps off a marvellous performance with an absolute pile driver of a goal. Michael Jonquier, after 66 minutes, gives Ostend an unlikely lead. Well, that should be a galvaniser. Hopefully that should prompt their players into action. We're looking for a response. It's not really been forthcoming so far, and Ostend have the bit between the teeth. They're looking confident. That goal has given them fresh impetus, and he was denied there just at the last bar, just as well by Olivier De Schacht. Up goes Spasic. Here is Coombs. We need something from him. That's a good ball wide. Here is Amazu. He's got the run ahead of him. He picks out his man. It's Hanny. Hanny now approaching the byline. He needs to get a decent cross in. It is a good cross, and the header is there. It's a brilliant move by Anderlecht, and it's just the response that was required. Hanny with the run. He latched onto the perfect through ball, and there is the header from the big pull. In fact, it's an own goal. Teodorovic had leapt well. I think he put his defender under pressure, and in attempting to clear, Nicolais Lomberts has headed past his own goalkeeper and put through his own net. An element of fortune about that, but Anderlecht won't really be caring. They're back on level terms, and they now need to go on and use this as a platform to hopefully win the match. We've got 15 minutes, just a little over 15 minutes remaining. Oh, Coombs wins the ball at the third attempt there, gets the ball wide to Apaya, tries to drive on down the right, but once again he is stifled by Ostend, who've come here and acquitted themselves superbly well, and that ball just drifts out of play. So another substitution here for Ostend. It is Rezayan coming off and Belaika coming on. 12 minutes to go now for Anderlecht to try and salvage a victory out of this. You've got to commend Ostend, though. I mean, you can look at the failings in the Anderlecht team and perhaps say they haven't pushed themselves to the limit or pushed themselves to the maximum of their ability today. That's not really been at the zenith of their play. And what's the referee given here? This could be tricky. It's a free kick. Oh, I thought for one awful moment that he'd given a penalty. Free kick comes in. That has to have taken a deflection, otherwise that's got to be one of the poorest attempts at a free kick I have seen in FIFA 2018 for a very long time. In fact, yes it does. Corner now for Ostend. 9 minutes to go. Look at this. They've had 8 shots to Anderlecht's 2. And for a team to come to Anderlecht, to come to Brussels and play like that and dominate in terms of attacking chances, that really is a sad indictment of how poorly Anderlecht have played today. But Gerkens comes away with the ball. Get the ball into the box. Good cross. Teodorovic shoots at the post, and the follow-up is rammed home by Teodorovic. He remained alert. His header slammed off the base of the post, but he was quick, alive, and reacted superbly well to just thunder the ball home on the rebound. And Anderlecht perhaps will be getting out of jail after all. It's the balls coming in from the wings that have given Ostend all sorts of difficulties today. Left from Hani for the first goal, right there from Apaya, or Gerkens rather, for the second. And Teodorovic proves his worth. He's a prolific goal scorer, he's an opportunist goal scorer, and he's just proved that there. Lukas Teodorovic gives Anderlecht the lead with 5 minutes to go, and for all Ostend's valiant efforts today, it looks as though it will be in vain. Of course, let's just see if Anderlecht can hold on to this, and it will be a case of holding on. Let's not make any bones about that. It's been a very disappointing performance, but you know, they do say that when you perform poorly and you win, that's the sign of a good side, and Anderlecht could rip them open again. Teodorovic tries to play Gerkens in. Oh, Lomberts took his time about clearing that. And as we edge towards full time, Anderlecht have the ball where they want it in the attacking half. Gerkens, here's Apaya, lays the ball now to Trebel, floats it in, and Amazou, I think he just misjudged the flight of that, and he doesn't get enough of a connection on the header, and it drifts out, and Van Hamel will be in an unseemly haste to get on with this for KV Ostend. Still Anderlecht 2, KV Ostend 1. Anderlecht looked as though they were going to bow out of this opening league fixture here at the Constant Park Vandenstock with a defeat. It looked as though they were going to be greeted to howls of derision and discontent from the home fans, and that certainly was the case at half time, and it certainly was the case as the second half started, and particularly when Ostend took the lead. The horror that radiated from the stands was something to behold, and there is the final whistle. Anderlecht have somehow managed to crawl and stumble over the line. Anderlecht 2, KV Ostend 1. Ostend took the lead through that man there, Jonquier, but Anderlecht had to fight, and they showed signs of resilience. They showed signs of a bit of gumption and created 2 goals from the wing, 2 crosses into the box, causing consternation in the Ostend penalty area. The defenders did not deal with them well. The first, a Lomberts OG from a cross by Hani from the left. The second, Teodorovic's header, was initially denied by the base of the post, but he remained alert to react before the Ostend defence could clear, and he rammed home the rebound. Final score, Anderlecht 2, KV Ostend 1. Well, if ever there was a case of getting out of jail, that was it. That was the epitome of it. Anderlecht, though, go on to win 2 successive games at the start of the season, so it augurs well for the campaign in the Belgian Pro League, but we're going to have to play a lot better than that. A lot of hard work is going to have to be put in on the training pitch. We're going to have to try and up the tempo in matches, because there was a real kind of apathy towards the play, a bit too much lackadaisical passing of the ball for no reason at all. It was just meaningless, just in a bid to keep possession, but there was no purposiveness about it at all. So there we go. Anderlecht win their second match of the campaign in the Belgian Pro League, and our Bosman's holiday will resume next time out on FIFA 2018. We're all off on a Bosman holiday, and we'll be facing Charleroi in our next fixture. So we'll be facing some boys from the south, so it won't be an all Flemish tie. We're going to face and taste our first experience of Walloon hospitality, because we will be travelling to Charleroi for that particular fixture. Remember, give us a thumbs up if you like this, and of course we do have the other FIFA 2018 stream and career mode save, which is complimentary and is running simultaneously with this one. That is, of course, our Pyramid to Premiership campaign with the mighty Forest Green Rovers. We're desperate for a win. We're playing Lincoln City later on today. Tune in later for that to see the outcome of that monumental tie. Both both teams absolutely hate each other. Should be a cracker. And for We're All Off on a Bosman's holiday, that continues tomorrow. As I said, any comments? If you think you can perhaps get Anderlecht playing at a higher tempo, can you suggest better tactics that would enable us to elicit the best out of this Anderlecht team? Give us a comment below. If you like it, give us a thumbs up. You can also join the debate and engage with football chit-chat, irreverent humour and sarcastic put-downs on our Twitter feed. That's on Offside Pies. So type in offside_pies to connect with our Twitter feed. So, until this time tomorrow, this is Bazzad saying hope you enjoyed that and have a good day. Bye.